Hello and welcome to another video about Omnisphere. This time we're going to look at the wonderful LFO. So what is an LFO? It's a low frequency oscillator and it operates around about 20 Hz. So us humans can't actually hear the oscillator actually make any sound. So you think, well, what's the point in having an oscillator that doesn't make any sound? Well, they can be used to modulate other parameters of the synthesizer to give it life, give it energy, give it some movement. And in this little video we're going to have a look at the LFO section of Omnisphere, but first we'll have a quick look at this little sample patch that I put together very quickly just so I can demonstrate the LFO. What we've got here is just a simple synth oscillator, American Heritage. I've modulated the shape so it'll move and change the shape. So if I move that, you can see it'll move the shape as we play each sound. We've got a modulation to the cutoff, so that will rise and fall as we go along the way. I've made it plucky, so by taking the depth of the filter down along with sustain, not much release. And well, we've done an arpeggiator as well, good old Berlin school style arpeggiator, and it sounds like this. That's what it sounds like, and all I've got on the effect channel is a bit of a delay, a bit of reverb, so we know we're starting from what I intended. Let's just make sure. Sorry, one of the modulation sources has changed for some strange reason. I'll just change that back to arp length. Right, all I did there to actually see what modulation I've got is just click on the plus symbol next to the magnifying glass thing next to modulation. Click on that and you see I've got 3 LFOs set there. But before we go into what they're all doing, we'll just have a look at the LFO section in itself. So what we've got here, we've got up to 8 LFOs, so you can use up to 8 LFOs to modulate and move your sound, but you don't have to have one LFO per modulation. You can actually assign the same LFO to several different things. So I could, if I wanted to, assign LFO 1 to both. Well, I've got it currently as its shape. Yes, in the shape. So it's in the shape, and if I wanted to, I could actually put it on symmetry. So all I need to do is right click, modulate with LFO, and that will automatically move it to the next available one. All I need to do is click on the drop down, change it to LFO 1, and it will change the symmetry at the same time as, if we look here, synth shape and symmetry will be moving. So I'll just give it some say. There we go. So you can actually see those little white blobs show the movement of the LFO going up and down. We'll come to that in a minute. So I'll close that. So what we've got here, we can choose your shape of your LFO. So at the moment it's on a sine wave. You've got different shapes you can use, and basically that will show, well, it simulates, the picture you see there simulates the movement of that white dot. If we just go back to modulation again, we're on synth shape, and you see it move up very slowly and then shoot straight back down. And that's because we've got like a triangle that goes up and then drops off a cliff edge, so that'll bring it straight back down again. You can see it up here on the let's see, it goes back down again. So if I change that to the other way, it will now shoot back to the top very quickly when it gets to the bottom. There you go. And that's just a normal sine wave. You've got a square wave. So I'm having a cup of tea while we're doing this because it could be quite a lengthy video. We've got you can sync that LFO to the tempo. I've got it set at 120. So if you take the sync off, it's free reign. Then off we go. The delay alters at what point you actually bring the LFO. So if I want to not bring that in immediately, all I need to do is change the delay. Nothing will happen for half a second, and then you see the LFO started. The rate, because I got it sync locked, it'll go 4 times, 3 times, 1 times, half, 8th, 16th, 32, 64th, and you can see what it's literally. Well, that representation shows how quickly it's going to move and modulate the sound. So 32 times it'll go really slow, but then I like to have around about the 2 times thing. The depth alters the actual depth, and what I'm going to do is, you saw I had a sidebar with LFO before. If you want it back after you've loaded the sound set, all you need to do is literally find a modulation source, like we've got a shape here. If you right click, show modulation, and click LFO1, up it pops. So you can actually see it better here, the way it's being modulated on the depth, because the depth alters how far that little white dot is going to move, and in turn then that determines how far this shape's going to move. So at the moment it's only doing about that much movement, say, and if I put it on full depth, it's going to go all the way to the right, all the way to the left. So the depth is great to sort of like narrow down your modulation. There's a few presets that it comes with that alters things, like you've got 8th ramps and stuff like that, so you can see it's got absolutely nuts there. So what I'll do is just move that back to reload the patch, and if we have a look at what I've modulated, we have modulated here, if we click on the plus sign, we've modulated the synth shape, the cutoff, and I must have saved this wrong because that arpeggio, it should be arp length. So I'll quickly fix that by going to Utilities, Save Patch Quick. Yes, I want to overwrite. Done. Right. So next time I load it, it'll remember it. So what I've done here, we'll do the easy bit first, and that's the shape. So if I go back into this, we say the synth shape's being moved. So when I play it, and I'm going to, so as you can see it better, the LFO in motion. Oops, show modulation, there we go. In actual fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute the ones not using. So that's what it sounds like. I forgot to mention I've got a smooth parameter, and that smooths that modulation down, because if I take it off, it gets a bit juddery sometimes. It's not so bad on a synth shape, but when you get to stuff like cutoff, it can be a bit sort of step more than smooth through, and that's what that does. So what we'll do here is, if I turn LFO1 off completely, so that's without the LFO. If I bring the LFO on, there's a subtle difference as the LFO sweeps through the synth shape. So that's here what LFO1's doing. LFO2 is doing the cutoff. So you can hear it as it progresses. So I need to go to my cutoff, don't I? Sorry, you can't see it otherwise. Show modulation LFO2. You see the white dot? That's simulating the movement of that. So if I move my cutoff down further, so the sound starts darker, it'll get darker, and then we'll move slowly up the cutoff range. So I've got it on sine wave. Now if I, for example, I want a triangle, say. Is it? Yeah, I'll have a triangle. If I don't want that, and it's more show you better on this, so show you better on a sine. There we go. If I don't want that LFO to go below that slider, all I need to do is click unipolar. You see what happens? It removes the blue bit, so it won't go to a darker sound than where it starts. Now, if I want to get a darker sound, I just take unipolar on, and it will do it. So that's the LFO, and we've got the arp length, and Sorry, I've got to do that again. It does annoy me that it doesn't update when you click on the thing. Now, it's not very clear, and I don't know if it comes through properly on YouTube with all the compression and stuff going on here, but you might be able to see that where this big bright blue bit is, as the LFO sweeps up and down, you'll see it shading wider and narrower, and that is altering the length of the actual note. So if I turn that off, sorry, if I gotta go back to here and mute that, all my steps are the same, and it gets a bit boring. But if I turn them on, your steps get wider and shorter. Now if I add the whole thing in, sorry, whoops, if I add all the LFOs on, see, you got great movement in a very simple sound. Now what we can do, we can get quite crazy if you want here. We can actually modulate the delay, so we can alter how much the delay comes on. So I don't want it to go absolutely nuts on this, because otherwise you're just going to get drowned in delay. So we just take the depth bit and I'll sync it. See what it's done? It takes off the delay and then it adds some. So what we need to do, just make it a bit deeper. I'll just leave it playing for a bit so you can hear it, and we'll stop talking. So you get the effect of the sound that the LFO is actually stating how much delay is applied, and it's not the same each time it runs through, because I've got the rate of the LFO running different to the rate of an eighth. So not the same note is going to get delayed each playthrough on the 16 steps of the arpeggiator. And what we can do the same with the reverb as well. So we can go Modulation Matrix here. On this one, I am not going to, whoops, I am not going to sync on purpose. I want a depth. So I've got 5 LFOs running now. So that's taking my run a bit faster. So you can hear there that not every single note is getting reverb. So that is the beauty of LFOs. You can modulate literally any source in Omnisphere to an LFO. You can your analog phase, anything that's modulatable on here, you can use an LFO to modulate it. Yes, you can use filter envelopes, which will be in another video later on, but we're just looking at LFOs at the moment. And like I say, you can go into the modulation matrix here. You've got 4 pages of the things here. You can have all these modulations if you want. It's amazing what Omnisphere can do. But you can, like I say, you can change your source here, so you can have more than one target as well. Same LFO affecting more than one target, that's the best way of saying it. So we've got LFO1, so I can actually have everything if I wanted to on LFO1. Complete mess, like, but you get the idea. So there we go. That is a spin through of what LFOs can do within Omnisphere. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, ding that bell and you know when the next one is, and subscribe to the channel and you'll get notified when the next video's out. So thank you for your support, and I'll catch you next time.